Warm greetings and good evening from here. Welcome to this talk on good sleep, and I hope that this will be enriching and you will find some answers on this topic. It would be great to find out from you your area of interest in sleep, whether it's more academic, your own experiences, and anything that you wish to share. It's an interactive talk. You're welcome to share in the chat. One quote, Irish proverb, a good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures in the doctor's book. So definitely good sleep is such a blessing. And what happens, we see today, the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention say that more than 1/3 of American adults do not get enough sleep on a regular basis. And insomnia affects 10 to 30% of adults worldwide. And of course, technology or what it's providing so many benefits, it can affect the quality of our sleep and using before we go to bed. And so meditation has its benefits. So today will be interesting to take this subject from science, but also from spirituality. And we'll be joined by, facilitated by Dr. Prashant, and based in Cambridge. Background is medical and has been associated with meditation philosophy for more than 40 years. And so feedback so far, struggling with sleep at the moment, so this is perfect timing. Prashant is also returning from India, so hopefully recovered from jet lag and nursing a bit of a cough, so fingers crossed you'll be able to share freely this evening. So very warm welcome everyone, and handing over to Prashant.
Hello, and appreciate your interest in this very interesting subject. 1/3 of our life is spent in sleeping, and the experts say that 3 things, if we pay attention to, that will take care of our health. And these 3 things include diet, exercise, and sleep. And surprisingly, the factor of sleep is seen as the top amongst these 3. One researcher in California by name Walker, I'll just read his statement on sleep, what he says. The name is Matt Walker, University of California, Berkeley. His statement, there is no tissue within the body and no process within the brain that is not enhanced by sleep or demonstrably impaired when you don't get enough sleep. So it really tells us, what a major part played by sleep. He says no tissue in the body, which is not enhanced, its efficiency, and no function in the brain. We know this also. If you get some 10 minutes sleep, you know that you feel better. It is that kind of thing. On the other hand, it is also seen in experiments with animals. If you deprive them of sleep, they die sooner. In human beings, some human beings have got genetic situation where they don't get sleep and they don't live more than 40 years of age. They die earlier. There are exceptions in all cases. I myself know of a patient who used to say she never sleeps at all. And maybe for seconds, minutes, she might be, just having some disconnection. But she used to say, I never get know of the sleep. I never sleep. And now she is more than 90 years of age, and she used to lead a complete life with exercise and driving and everything. So there are exceptions, but what we are going to speak is something that applies to the large majority of people, and it very likely applies to each one of us. The recommendation from the authorities, those who have studied all kinds of people, we need on an average 7 hours of sleep every night. An adult at a younger age, they need more sleep, but an adult, something like 7 hours. If you sleep more than 8 hours, it is actually counterproductive. It is guaranteed. The connection is seen. Those who sleep 8 hours or longer, they have more health problems and shorter uh, lifespan. And one reason for that may be if you sleep longer, you get less exercise. But there are other reasons. There are some who might be sleeping longer and introduce some program of exercise. Still, they have seen that it affects their health and it affects their lifespan. So the broad idea we are getting, and we are going to see different cycles. It is not one sleep cycle. There are a few sleep cycles that are going into our system. Let me use the whiteboard to start with. One sleep cycle we all know about is our circadian rhythm, just about 24-hour cycle that we have. And in this, there is a rhythm that we have established. And sometimes you might go to sleep later also, but you will still wake up at a certain time because there is a rhythm that is set, and that is called circadian rhythm. There is another rhythm that we will be seeing in more detail, that is our sleep cycles. And that is more to do with our deeper functions, but deeper sleep cycles. And this is absolutely picked up by the electrical activity of the brain. There another parallel, all these things are going on in a parallel. We have got within us a chemical called melatonin. If there is darkness, melatonin secretion increases and it helps the sleep. If there is light, the melatonin decreases and it disturbs our sleep. So there is that pattern going on. And if we want to take advantage of this, we have to see that when we are going to bed, see that there are no lights in the room. You might as well give yourself the best chance. Just see that there are no street lights. In other words, close your curtains and don't expose yourselves to to devices, internet used, computer use before going to bed. Then you are uh, doing the best at that level. Melatonin cycle. And another chemical that is affecting our sleep is adenosine, another chemical. And the way this adenosine system operates, just like if you are hungry or if you are not eaten for 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, your hunger increases. In the same way, if you're not slept for 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, your adenosine level increases. And as it is increasing, you have to go to bed. It is like you can't resist it, and then if you go to bed, you sleep even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the level drops, adenosine level drops. So then that is not making you sleepy anymore. There may be other factors that will make you sleepy, but adenosine level continues to increase. So if we understand this adenosine rhythm, then say if you go to bed in the afternoon at 3 p.m., get up at 6 p.m., and then your normal time to go to bed is at 9 p.m., adenosine level has not gone up. Adenosine level is still lower, and you won't feel sleepy at 9 p.m. It needs something like at least 8 hours for the adenosine level to rise. So if you are planning to sleep at 10 o'clock, wiser for you not to sleep after 2 p.m. If you want to get a nap or something, get it before 2 p.m. You may sleep up to 3 p.m., but longer you keep it, or if you delay your nap later, it will affect your night sleep because adenosine level is still on the lower side. So these are different cycles. They overlap each other. Let us see our sleep cycle in the normal sleep cycle. In other words, what happens to our brain electricity and brain waves. So we will see the PowerPoint images now. So we all have this sleep pattern. We sleep for, and in a night, each sleep cycle lasts for about hour and a half. Each one has its own sleep cycle. So for one person, it may be a little bit more than 1 hour, 30 minutes. It can be 1 hour, 40 minutes for one person, can be 2 hours for other person, but largely it is 1 hour, 30 minutes for majority, lots of people. And this time, 1 hour, 30 minutes, you go to bed, you are very sleepy, you go to bed. We go through these different phases. It is shown here. First is non-REM sleep. So it is like a normal sleep, and it goes through these 4 phases. Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, as is shown here. And after these 4 phases, temporarily we as if come out of that fourth sleep is very deep sleep. That finishes. For a short period of time, the switch takes place, and we move into the REM sleep, which means rapid eye movement sleep. So there is a very interesting shift that takes place, and that lasts for another 20 minutes on an average. And then we wake up. At the end of each sleep cycle, we are awake for a short time. And brain waves show that we are not asleep for maybe a few seconds or a minute. During that time, if someone was to call you, you will respond because you are awake at that time. But a minute earlier, you won't because you are disconnected. And then we go into the next sleep cycle. So this is the way it happens for majority of the individuals. We sleep for 1 sleep cycle, maybe sometimes 4 sleep cycles all night. For some people, it may be 5 sleep cycles. It starts with the step 1, phase 1. And during this time, the brainwave activity we call it alpha rhythm. Our normal rhythm of the brain is beta rhythm. And we will show another graph, that is what is beta rhythm. But phase one, you are sleepy, but you are not quite asleep. That is like the phase one, and brain shows beta. Brain shows alpha rhythm, and then it moves. You're getting deeper into sleep. It is described as step two, and the brain starts showing theta rhythm. Means just it is a deeper, bigger oscillations. And what is brain waves? Just means various brain cells are in action, and in step one they are all out of synchrony. That's why it is seen as alpha rhythm. Theta rhythm, it is getting some kind of a rhythm together. That is step two, and we are internally deeper relaxed there. Body and brain, everyone at all levels there is some relaxation and progress. Step three is further deeper into sleep. These are like now, we have spent almost an hour by the time we reach step three. Then step four is the time we see deep sleep, and we are actually disconnected from the world during that time. And the brain shows delta rhythm. They are like the 3 waves per second, this rhythm, which means all brain cells, they all are working together. There is a harmony, synchrony of that. When it was step one, they were all firing at different times. Now they are all firing together. That's why it is seen in a delta rhythm when we are in step four. And as was said, this lasts for a short time, and then we shift into the REM sleep. REM sleep is a very fascinating thing for even the researchers. No one knows what exactly is happening. Very fact, it is called REM, which means rapid eye movement. And if you were to monitor the movement of a waking person, you will see the same movement. Say someone is just sitting somewhere, he just doesn't stare at one place. His eyes move left and turn right, and someone suddenly comes in and something falls. His eyes move left, right, up, down, and is looking at different things. During this REM sleep, it is the same movement that is seen. In until then, in step one, two, three, four, there is no movement. The eyes are not moving anywhere. But in the REM, eyes are moving. But other things that are happening, brain also shows the activity of the waking brain, which is the beta rhythm. And the entire body is paralyzed except for some few muscles here and there, like the muscles in the middle ear. They are they are somehow not paralyzed, but the rest of the body is paralyzed. And this is necessary, for the person, for the body to be paralyzed. Otherwise, he would be jumping around, because during that time, it appears he's experiencing another reality, and it presents to him as a dream. He he if he wakes up in that state, he will tell you what dream he was experiencing. So that is also called the dream state. So seen from the spiritual perspective, one can say the soul has detached. By the end of the step 4, the soul has detached from the body and is experiencing a different reality. We can call it a dream reality. And he's experiencing them actively and intensely. He's seeing, if I was to say, he's seeing from the football, or he may be the running and jumping, playing football maybe. So that is happening at a subtle level. He's experiencing it. If the body was not paralyzed, the body would be playing football here. Body would be running and kicking and screaming and jumping. That's why in the scheme of things, the body remains paralyzed, and soul is experiencing that dream reality in its own time. And it doesn't last forever. It lasts for a certain period of time. He comes back. This part of the sleep has got some, curiosity in the research, because some processing happens in us, within us. In one language, it is seen the memories, some information is transferred from one part of the brain called hippocampus to the frontal cortex in a different part of the brain. It is as if transferring material from your computer to the memory drive and creating more space. It is a bit like that. So this is what happens, but something much more than that. That may be having some spiritual significance in this REM sleep. And if someone is deprived of REM sleep, he has he loses certain things. He loses not just the dreams, but he loses that inner processing, and it affects at the efficiency level. And you would like to add anything, say anything? It will be nice to hear from you.
So by understanding the sleep cycle, are you saying for those who would like to improve their sleep, they can plan ahead and fit in the right number of sleep cycles?
Sure. Yes, as we saw here, our phase 1, 2, 3, 4, sleep increasingly gets deeper. We are as if getting detached from this physical world as we are moving into the step 4. But it is the step 4 when there is the real sleep. That delta rhythm is the main thing that we need. And it is all the preparation for that. So if someone was to plan to sleep for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and he was to wake up just before the step 4, if he was to wake up in the step 3, he will feel more disturbed when he wakes up. And he has benefits of having slept and relaxed, but he is as if pulled out of something that he didn't want to come out. And he will be worse off sometimes for a period of time. So if he is to plan, to keep an alarm clock, he will be wiser to keep an alarm clock after 1 hour, 40 minutes. If he's going to bed now, plan it after 1 hour, 40 minutes. That way he give himself a chance to complete the full cycle, including the REM sleep. And then there is temporary waking state. And he's going to the next phase 1. It is better to wake up in the phase 1 of the next cycle than phase 3 of the earlier cycle. If one can plan that way, then he is wiser. He will not keep alarm clock, choose in such a way that he is disturbed in the middle of the REM either. Then it disrupts, so he can take the real benefit of the full sleep cycle.
Where does the power nap fit in? Is that when you just have a quick nap that you haven't gone so deep, but you just catch up?
Yeah, as was said before, we read the quote by Walker from Berkeley. He said, even if you sleep for 5 minutes, it benefits you somewhere. It benefits all the tissues of the body. It affects the functions of the brain. And this is what really happens, during the power nap. If someone feeling sleepy, and if he sleeps for even short time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, he will be better off for the next 4 hours. And but if he sleeps for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, then he might get benefit of the sleep, but he might also be disturbed because by that time he had already gone deeper in the sleep, and will feel disturbed to come out of that. 10 minutes, 20 minutes is fine. Anything longer than that, you have to think twice.
Yeah, it might make you feel worse.
Yes.
There's a question, how do you maximize the hours of deep sleep at night?
The powers of the deep sleep.
How to maximize the hours of deep sleep?
Hours of the deep sleep. The wisest thing we can do is leave it to nature, which means, if you don't need to, don't keep the alarm clock. Create the environment that is appropriate. We said earlier, don't keep lights, don't keep unnecessary alarm clock, no noises, if there is a rhythm, you are in a certain country, you have a pattern of waking up at a certain time, plan it accordingly, and see if you wake up in a natural way. That is the best thing that you can do. I might also like to add here, and we said if you keep lights and if you use devices, computers, that will affect your melatonin cycle. And if you use devices 2 hours prior to going to bed, it will definitely affect. In studies, it is seen. So very wise not to use the devices for 2 minutes and for 2 hours prior to going to bed, if it is possible for you. Not to watch television for 2 hours prior to going to bed. Then you are wiser. You give yourself the best chance, and your sleep will be deeper and shorter. You won't have to sleep more cycles, but in a few cycles, you will have the efficient sleep fulfillment.
Thank you.
Let us see the next PowerPoint presentation here. Same thing is shown. It is we are seeing the brain waves in different phases. In step 4, you see the bigger waves. It just means the brain is working together. All the different brain cells are firing together. That's why bigger waves and in a bigger gap. All the cells are firing in step 1 also, but at different times. That's why there is you don't see the bigger amplitude. You see the step 1 is just 5% of the sleep, step 2, 50%, step 3, 5%, step 4, this is the delta rhythm sleep. It is 12 to 15%. This is in the first sleep cycle. And as we go further, second sleep cycle, third sleep cycle, delta rhythm sleep will become shorter. And say someone who was used to sleeping 5 sleep cycles, he decides to cut down and wants to sleep 4 sleep cycles. He can train himself and wake up every day after 4 hours, after 6 hours, which means 4 sleep cycles. Then what will happen is delta rhythm sleep will become longer in these 4 cycles. So whatever he was getting in 5 sleep cycles, he will get within the 4 sleep cycles. That also happens. So one can be more efficient in doing that and save time. We'll see the next slide. And here you see, the beta rhythm is a normal waking state. And this is the rhythm you will see in REM sleep. As was said, even in REM sleep, it is just like a normal waking brain, as if he's walking, looking around. Then as he starts feeling sleepy and he's going to bed, but not quite asleep, that starts with alpha rhythm. Then it moves phase 2, 3, then it is theta rhythm, and then it goes into the delta rhythm. Yeah, you want to add anything, say anything?
Just remembering that expression, early to bed, early to rise, makes a person wealthy, healthy, and wise. Is there some scientific truth in this?
Yeah, very good. That will be clearer with the next slide. Let me show this next slide. This is the circadian rhythm. This is not a slide to explain that early to bed, but it sort of shows, the sleep cycles that we are going through and what happens in 24 hours. But this also explains what we are going to say. Here you see in red REM sleep or dream sleep. And what you are also seeing as time progresses, the dream sleep time is also increasing. REM sleep is increasing. And it may not be necessary. And that time kind of dream, it is disturbing sometimes, unnecessary. Whatever we need, the REM sleep we needed, it was during the first 3 cycles, sleep cycles. After that, it is like a random dreams and sometimes maybe disturbing dreams also, and they are longer. What is seen, say someone goes to bed at 9 o'clock and sleeps for 6 hours. Another person goes to bed at 1 a.m. and sleeps for 6 hours. Both are sleeping 6 hours. One person has gone to bed at 9, another person has gone to bed at 1 p.m., 1 a.m. So 4 hours later. What is seen in the one who goes to bed at 9 a.m., he has more delta rhythm sleep, and overall he has less REM sleep.
Do you mean 9 p.m.?
One who goes to bed at 9 p.m.
p.m. Sure.
Yeah, he has more delta rhythm sleep in the 6 hours, and he has REM sleep, but lesser REM sleep. One who goes to bed later and wakes up later, he has also slept same number of hours. He has less delta rhythm sleep and more REM sleep. So there is a REM pressure as in the circadian rhythm. More you are awake early morning hours, and during the midday also, all of that time. If you even sleep during the daytime, early morning, then you get more REM sleep. Someone takes a nap, want to sleep for 2 hours during the day at 9 a.m. He gets more REM sleep. If he goes to bed at 6 p.m., same 2 hours sleep, he gets more delta rhythm sleep and less REM sleep. So this is seen. So early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. There is some extraordinary truth in it, which is seen by the sleep studies and pattern. We'll see the next slide. It is the same that is seen, but in the slide after this may be more useful. Yeah, here we are seeing the hypnogram. We are seeing how increasingly we are going deeper and deeper, deeper, and then we are temporarily awake. We are going up. That is, and REM sleep starts. And then he goes into next sleep cycle, and then the REM sleep lasts longer. You know, and then he goes into the next sleep cycle, which is not so deep afterwards. And you are seeing that REM getting longer and longer. That red marks that shows the REM sleep. Even if he wakes up temporarily, he goes back into the dreaming. It continues. That's excellent. So I will stop here, and it will be nice to hear from you. We are getting the overview of our what happens during sleep, and how we can plan and be a little bit more efficient in our. I should also say that those who are studying sleep, there are people who have dedicated their lives, like one professor who has spent 30 years studying sleep. He says, why do we sleep? His answer is because we feel sleepy. And in other words, there is a mystery around this. We do not know what is happening in sleep. We give the examples. There are some who don't even sleep, that kind of thing going on. There are some who sleep. And so, what exactly is going on during sleep? And who is sleeping? It is not that the brain is asleep. No, brain is active. We saw during this REM sleep, brain is as active as any other waking brain. Body is also, during some parts of the sleep, body is also very not necessarily relaxed. It's tense also in different phases of the sleep cycle. And so in one phase it is paralyzed, another phase it is tense. But still we are not clear what exactly is happening. And one reason why this incomplete knowledge is because we are dealing with the invisible soul in this journey, and that contributes to this. mystery. If we are trying to explain only at the level of the brain or physical level, we are not going to get a complete answer. Not that this invisible soul is sleeping, but he detaches from the body, but detaches from this reality during the sleep phases.
Almost feels like it's the physical body that needs the repair and the rest, and the operator or the soul needs a break or a change, and change is good as a break. So maybe that's what it sounds like. And there's a huge connection between those who are practicing a relaxation technique or a meditation and recovery and reducing the symptoms of insomnia. So it'd be good to hear a bit more about maybe a process of letting go before going to sleep. Do you have anything to share? Because one tip is to create a relaxing bedtime routine to improve not just more quantity is great, but the quality. Do you have any tips about letting go and creating that routine?
Yes. If anyone has difficulty with sleep, one easy thing he can do is go to bed, take a position as if you are in bed, and then with your thoughts come to the supreme home. And those who are completely new to this, find out more about this. Come to that supreme home experience, soul world experience. And that is a reality beyond the physical. And just stay in that experience. This is the timeless world of silence and peace. This is the home of the souls. You stay in that experience, and you are promoting the chances. If the system needs sleep, you will get sleep very quickly. And one thing that will happen when the mind is busy, is involved in this experience, it will stop other thoughts. There are certain thoughts, they create a increased activity of our reticular activating system. I mean, there is a part in the brain that keeps the person awake. Any activity there keeps the person awake. So when you are staying in the experience of the home, this reticular activating system that will be turned off, and you are promoting the chances of falling asleep.
Like the idea of replacement. And sometimes it can be, if you're really engaged in the thoughts of what you need to do, sometimes you can wake up and you can feel you've had a day at the office because your mind has been so engaged or concerned maybe. So to give your mind direction and something absorbing sounds very practical. And yes, it needs looking into what is meant. If you really can't sleep, is it better just to get up and do something? Because sometimes it kind of feels you can spend hours trying to just lying in bed. What would you recommend for that?
Yeah, definitely common sense. As was said, is if you get sleep easily, well and good. If there is no sleep, that is not the end of the world. We know life is much more than that. There is another day, next day you will get sleep, and you can plan what you are going to do. Remain light about it. Otherwise, someone just worries why I'm not getting sleep. You're worrying about sleep. That itself becomes another reason not getting sleep. You do other things, then come back to bed, and you might find then you are more sleepy, and you get sleep.
I think that's good, because sometimes we can hear these statistics and, oh, it's affecting the health. It can just create another concern. But yeah, my experience, that concept to remain light is bottom line. When from your understanding and your experience, are there certain foods and drinks that we should be aware of if we're having trouble with sleep? Things that we should avoid, or things we should maybe adopt?
Yes, and as we saw, that value of good sleep. So we take all the steps, promote in a best possible way to get a sound, good sleep, but accept what happens. We accept. Now, if someone wants to uh, create these opportunities of a good sleep, then he has to avoid uh, caffeine kinds of stimulants, and he will never regret. In other words, to cut down on coffee, tea, chocolates, and wherever there is caffeine, like Coca-Cola kind of drinks, they all contain caffeine. If you avoid them, you will find your sleep is better. When people who consume this, they might still get sleep, they fall asleep, but they will wake up early, and the quantity and quality of sleep is compromised by these factors. And if someone wants to really give himself the best chance to cut down some of these things from our lives completely, as I said, you will never regret. It will help. The other factor that interferes with the sleep is uh, interference from others. Like your friend in another country, thinking of you, trying to send the text to you. Even though phone may not be with you, but just he thinking of you uh, can interfere. It will definitely interfere. And for some people, they are more sensitive to this. Some are less sensitive. And some people may wake up at a certain time, and next day when they check what time they woke up, it will be the time when someone sent them a text or someone thinking of them. And so these factors are also there, and we can't do much about this. At most, you can tell your close friends to send messages to you after you are 8 a.m. or something. They will understand.
I think definitely good to consider this. I usually put the phone on flight mode, but still the thoughts, which actually can if you've got friends in other time zones. And what you said about the energy or the drinks, caffeine is one thing, and the caffeine that we get in energy drinks, that the recent research shows that someone who's consumed even one can a month can have a greatly increased risk of disturbed sleep, or on average might sleep half an hour less than those who have never tried an energy drink. So we really don't know the effect of these. I'll just put the article in the chat. So good to keep it simple perhaps, and use natural ways to keep awake rather than the artificial. There's a question here, how deep we go in meditation. We can also create the environment of like delta rhythm. Can we replace sleep with meditation? are there pros and cons of doing this?
From my understanding, answer is no. What really happens during sleep is detachment. That is what is happening, and physical detachment. And it may be necessary for some our psychophysiology for that to happen. Our meditation is aimed for purification of the soul, not the detachment. It is like we want to imbibe knowledge and learn to see the things in a new way. It's a waking process. It is not a sleep process. It, of course, will relax things, makes things more efficient. The impure waste thoughts are not there, impure thoughts are not there. But it is not replacing sleep.
That's interesting because sometimes it's mentioned in different traditions. So, in your experience, sometimes it's said that if you are having a life with less negative thinking, you won't need to sleep as much. Because sometimes if we're feeling a low mood and the mind is very running with a lot of thoughts, it can make us tired. So do you think at that level, when we have more positive, elevated thoughts, we don't get so tired?
No, as was said, we can train and reduce sleep cycles from 5 to 4, and this applies to everyone. And those who are into meditation, and if their lifestyle is such, there are less of the angers and vices, it will be more efficient. But it same thing applies to other people also. They many people can create efficiency in them. So it is in studies we have not they have not done studies on this area where people who are meditators, if they can manage with less sleep. At an individual level, there may be cases, but there are cases of that kind in other world also.
It appears to be recent research that napping is actually good for you, and they may be even introducing it more in the workplaces in the West. In Asia, it's very common to sleep at the desk after lunch. Do you have any tips for naps? Do you recommend?
Studies absolutely supports naps. If someone gets a nap of, as was said, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, he will be far more efficient for the next 4 hours in his work and in his health also. So this is seen. This and and maybe people might encourage this because of this, because studies show this. The companies might encourage people to take naps.
If your workplace doesn't allow for taking a nap, is there anything that that helps as almost a replacement?
We may have to create our own arrangements. There will be lunch breaks, and people can create time for that. I personally feel meditation has its own uniqueness, sleep has its own uniqueness, and rest has its own uniqueness, and all are complementing each other.
spiritual traditions, and certainly in Raj Yoga, it's encouraged to wake up in the early morning. And for someone who has to manage a busy work day and they're trying but maybe struggling with the routine, what would you suggest?
As was said before, this early to bed, early to rise, that is the perfect program. And if someone is able to adopt that in his life, then he's very lucky. And if not, we all are individuals. Each one has his own the genetics and his physiology, his needs, and he has to understand that and try and manage with his personal needs. But there is no benefit in being sleep deprived anytime. It will be counterproductive.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude and not something to get used to. Is there an impact of digestion on sleep quality? So maybe early to bed might be too soon after dinner.
Yes. At least in what I have studied, read, there is no very definite observation connection. And it may ultimately depend upon the individuals.
Yeah, it's worth experimenting with, like, if you feel that it's disturbing the sleep, and there is that wisdom about not having cheese before you go to bed. Perhaps it's the complex protein that creates more demand on the system that might result in more REM. So maybe it's something for each one to experiment. So hour has gone very quickly, and aware that we don't want to go on too long because otherwise we'll be interrupting with the sleep routine of some. So do you have any final thoughts? And also it'd be good to perhaps have a meditation
Sure.
experience too.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to be sleep deprived, but yes, I will create some time for some meditation, and we can uh, experience the lines we were talking earlier. We have the ability to direct our thoughts where we choose. We got this function of attention, and attention is like a torch. You can direct it where you want. And we can direct this attention to the world beyond this physical. We direct it to that supreme sky. With eyes open or eyes closed, we are experiencing that expanse of light. We see it in gentle red color. World of complete silence. World beyond the physical. Timeless. Timeless, changeless, endless. This dimension exists forever. The home of everyone. This whole reality exists forever. Everyone is immortal. We are immortal. And we do not need to know anything else. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this was very rich because there was many angles, and we've just put in the chat if you want to catch up on the recording or share it with a friend. And if you want to learn more about meditation, the idea of the home, giving the mind that soothing but profound direction. So we'll be posting information about the talk next month. And meanwhile, enjoy and get good sleep, and also reviving sleep that we can experience our true health. So thanks so much, and see you next time. Thank you, Prashant.